Okay, hello my fellow Earthlings. As you can see, I'm not in my usual studio. I'm at my home Iceland studio in Norway, and Karmøy, Norway, Viking land as it's called. And I just finished this sheep cranium or sheep skull that I'm gonna, so I'm gonna show you it. And this is how it turned out. This is the skull, so you have a reference point to see how it turned out. And I've been working a lot with all these different textures and different things. Sadly, I can see that again the camera doesn't actually interpret the colors very good. That's sad, and also it's not a good light in this studio. But anyway, this is how it turned out, and I hope you will enjoy this video. There's a lot of different segments where I talk about a lot of different things: painting, love life, everything, but usually painting. So I will also there will also be hyperlinks in description, so you can actually jump around between your favorite segments in the video. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do. And remember to give my videos a thumbs up, leave a comment, and please subscribe, share them with your friends. And also, if you want to support my channel, you can go to Patreon and sign up for $1 or $5. If you do more, I will actually Skype with you and teach you how to paint. There's also a monthly giveaway, one small painting. So if you sign up for $5, you can actually win a small painting. So go check it out, and hope to see you in the next video. Hope you enjoy, hope you learn something. That is the whole idea. So with this, hope to see you in the next video. Okay, here we go again. I'm gonna repaint this still life. I actually made a drawing of it that worked better, but I'm gonna do it like this. I'm just gonna paint over the background and give it some more depth, and just remove the whole thing. So I think the proportions are quite good, but I have struggled mildly with the rest of it, and I decided to do it like this instead. So with this, enjoy the process. And yeah, by the way, I also will show you how you can actually just paint over old paint without any problem, because it's oil. Okay, so it's kind of a shame because I've used a lot of time on this background, but it doesn't work, and it doesn't really give me what I like in a painting. So I'm just gonna it's too orange, and it kind of destroys the natural feel in it. So I just gonna go in and repaint the whole thing. The good thing is that there are also, of course, some color in the background, so I will use as good as I can. Just do it like this. The good thing is that I get all these textures from underneath to work with, so that's a good thing. I think a good still life like this has a much greater potential if it stands alone without all that noise in the background. And also I used a mirror, and now I'm only using a this thing will be a glass surface, and it's more toned down than the yeah, it's so strange because, you know, yeah, it's more toned down when you use a glass thing. It's more toned. And if you use a mirror is basically too much, I think. So yeah, just try to go into it. And there also will be a very nice shadow here now. So we'll actually, because this is a little bit much to this side, to the left, but when I get this shadow in, it will actually, the shadow comes like this and goes in here, and it really gives the composition weight on this side that it actually needs. So that's also a good thing. I actually noticed that now, today, when I was going to redo it. This is the good thing about oil paint. You can keep on painting over it, over and over and over again, until you get what you want. So that is one of the great things about oil paint that I appreciate very much. So yeah, I'm just going to go in there. It is a little bit less, it's a little bit of a tone in the background, but I get back to that later when I have all this in. Okay, there. So all the way down here, and then the glass plate comes right around here actually, and that was a good place, isn't it? Because that is actually where the, no actually it's, well, it disappears in the background anyway. Kind of like this. Of course it will be quite like a shablon, if you get what a shablon is like. Before I've gotten in all the different shadows, it will seem very like it's kind of pasted on, but then I will start working more with all the shadows and stuff, and will gradually become more integrated in all the nuances. So also have to redo shadows and redo a lot of things in the cranium itself. So yeah. It's raining outside. I really love that noise. See now. I need some more black. I'm just going to work around it. Just get all of it in so I don't get see how easy it is? You just change it, you just go over it with new colors. And now of course there is a lot of textures in it, so there's no problem with getting the new paint to stick to the surface. And I have not used any varnish or anything on it, so but I also use a lot of texture. I love brushwork. Right now it's just, no, real brushwork. It's just to get the surface where I want it to be. But as I go along, I will start to put in more brushwork that has kind of more address, and I start to manipulate the surfaces with brushwork and get kind of deeper and deeper into it. So, yeah. There's that shadow, and there's a shadow here, underneath here. That's good. And there's a shadow. This one actually is too long, maybe. This one is underneath here. So annoying, because when I see this, it's totally clear. When I see this, it's quite clear. But then when I look at the palette, it's without glasses, it's kind of out of sync. So that's how it is to grow old, I guess. You go from having perfect vision to struggle with your vision. Such a sad thing. I was actually wondering if I check out if I could do a operation or adjust my eyes, but then again, it's my eyes, so I'm kind of a little bit reluctant, to put it mildly, because as a painter, losing one's eyesight would be basically the end of life as I know it. Life for me anyway. So I can do all this again. It's actually wrong, so I saw that now. So, and something stands on here, and the glass plate is actually over that, and yeah, so there's a lot of stuff happening in the surface, and yeah, so I love the sound of that rain. So nice. It's very nice indeed. Maybe I should just move back to my home Iceland and paint and prepare to die. Maybe that is also why I love painting these craniums. I think about death all the time, every day. And craniums, you know, this sheep, this is a sheep cranium, sheep skull. And it kind of used to be alive, like me. No introspection, no knowledge of actually being alive. And that is a different thing. Difference between human beings and other animals, and that is all other animals, even the ones who are of the most intelligence, do not have a conscious introspective sense of self in the way we do, and it is what makes us so beautiful. Yeah. Okay, see how fast that was? Yay! Looks better even now. Okay. This one goes all the way out, so yeah. So many things I have to fix here, you see. So it doesn't really matter because I have to kind of shake this up anyway. Total redo. Listen to that rain. It's a gorgeous sound. is this box underneath here, wooden box. Can actually indicate that one too, and that has a line here. I will then cross over like this, and I'll kind of see the box underneath the glass, and it all becomes so much more interesting to work with. Okay, just do the rest over here, and yeah. I really did hate this because I couldn't figure it out. And the reason I couldn't figure it out was simply because it was just too orange and the background was way too close to the object, and I couldn't really get a good, shall we say, a natural look to it. So I really hated it. So, okay. So I think that will basically make it happen, and I will just keep painting and show you the process. It is almost like I should have painted it all over again. Different shadows, different lights, different hues. Like this shadow now will come all the way down here like this, and you know, and the light will actually be coming like this underneath here instead. So this, and it comes up like this, come down here. And teeth comes down like this, goes up into this one, creates totally different. Yeah, I have to adjust it a little bit, or maybe I should just, well, decide. Anyway. Yeah, maybe. So and now the light will actually hit the top of the head, and it might be a little bit of a problem because when it hits all the way up here, it might be a little bit too strong, and so I have to maybe adjust the lighting a little bit. that is what the process is for. And what I like to struggle with. Okay. Oh, listen. So beautiful. The rain. I love water. Water is just so great. Okay, well, I think you get the point now. So I will then stop the video and I will keep painting a little bit more, and I will show you more on the process later. And voila! Mucho better. Maybe I should move the whole cranium a little bit to the right, to be honest. Take it off and adjust it a little bit. I might actually do that because it is a little bit too much to the left. But then again, I'll just see what I do. Maybe I just put some, I could actually put a stone or something, a small stone in the front. And that may also weigh up the composition. If I do something like that, I just add in another object to weigh it. And that could actually work. So I don't have to move the whole thing. And it's a nice little rock too, so, and it, yeah, I think I'll do that. At least I'm going to try. So, and the rock will then be, this actually have this orange hue. I'll show you. It's like this. Like this. So a thing you find in a, find it in by the sea. See, has to be a little bit like this. Yeah, and then it will be right around. I think it will be around here somewhere. Yeah. This. Yeah, that might actually work. And then that is how you can actually manipulate. If you do some small mistakes and you don't want to throw it out, or you don't want to remake the canvas, you can do things like this, and now with the shadow there in the behind there and that stone, that can be the solution. I'm still not sure, I might change my mind, but that's how it is. So because I couldn't have that stone there, if it was in the middle, it might be that that stone would actually ruin the whole composition. But I think that little rock or stone will make the thing fall into place. And I also have this beautiful, of course, shine in this mirror. So yeah, I think I'd do that. Seems like a good idea. You can actually see how you can manipulate stuff quite easily. Okay. Yeah, that's a good idea. Okay, here we are. Becomes a little bit yellow in here, well, fine. So as you can see, I have worked a little bit more with both the surroundings and everything, and I will just continue doing that. As you can see, the cranium now compared to the last one is way better. It's more like it kind of starts to get this shine to it that I like in my paintings. And I'm just going to start molding the bone and get more bone feeling into it. It's kind of a strange word, bone feeling, but that is basically what it is. You have to work the thing until it starts to feel like bone. And that is about building the sculptural thing. And yeah, also directions and all the different things. Yeah, I think my mummy was right. I was a little bit uncertain about the composition, as I said in the last segment, when I started painting in that rock there, stone. My mother came here and she thought it might be this one is a little bit longer, and I actually think she's right. There's also a light hitting here, which also drags the composition more this way, and that means that I probably don't have to take it off the frame and redo the thing, and that's a good thing. So, and this one too is probably more like this, and it's actually higher. This one is longer out, I see now. So I guess my mummy was right. My mother has a very natural way of seeing compositions. So and when you do painting yourself, you might sometimes come to a point where you have problems seeing things yourself. So getting a third eye to evaluate your work can be a very good thing. You should never be too sure about your own capabilities, no matter how good you get, or because you can always be wrong. And yeah, here too, this one has to come, maybe even this has to become a little bit further this way. It's also I think this head thing goes a little bit higher here and comes out like this, and then the front here goes more down like this. Yeah, I think she was right, actually. My mummy was right, as she often is, actually. But it's going to be some back and forth with it before it's finished anyway, so It's gonna be good. Yeah, I think she was actually. It's a good thing that she came in here and pointed this out, because it made it a little bit easier for me to foresee the whole thing. And yeah, maybe that was actually what I needed. From here to here. Yeah, I could have needed a little bit more, but it's not that much, so it will be okay, I think. Yeah. So, yeah, I might think that is actually correct. Gonna go a little bit closer. So, I'm gonna do like this. And move a little bit like, wait, I'm sorry. Like this. Yeah. Is that okay? Yeah. Of course there's going to be some other mistakes, probably, too. I think this is going to be, now that's the difficult thing. Is this going to be lower down? Yeah. This has to be up or this has to be down, and the fact is that this is actually down. A little bit anyway. This is drawing, so I'm not caring much about the lines stuff now, because this just has to become okay. You see now, here, there. This has to be a little bit higher. Probably this one too. It's a lot of thing. Well, the reason I like to paint or deal with craniums is the fact that it is difficult and it is very concrete. You can actually see the mistakes you do in a very concrete way. So you know, kind of. Such small things, actually. And yeah, like this. So bone, snout. I have the whole skeleton to this sheep. I found the whole skeleton. So I also have the whole skeleton of my late dog Timian. That's quite strange actually to have. And now I need to change a little bit more these things here. I need to find this one shadow that is going to be what I'm going to stick with. I kind of need to set that in stone. Okay. Okay, here. So. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I can also use a mirror to actually check if things are more correct. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So I'm just actually drawing, kind of drawing now still, because I have to remake so much of it, both in the hues and because now it actually is more grayish and stuff compared to the light I have on it last time. So it becomes a little bit more like a bony feeling. This one goes all the way up here, here. So yeah, this is how you do it. I'm not driving safe when I'm painting. I am just building and basically try to figure out the best way to explain the shapes and stuff. So yeah. Start more. Oh, it kind of looks a little bit right. To get more objective oversight of it, I do take a mirror and I kind of look in the mirror, look at the cranium and look at the painting, and it's suddenly way easier for me to judge if I'm on the right track or not, because I get this it's almost like getting the third eye. And it's more easy to get these more objective, not objective, but more objective oversight if you use a mirror like that. You can do it when you paint from photo, model, still life, whatever. Probably Corona. Corona. It's kind of amazing how much China managed to screw up everything with this Corona shit. So oh shit. And then I also have to paint all the, you know, the skull has all these it's kind of partitioned into parts from nature, and I will also have to redo many of them. So yeah. So I'll just keep painting and you can watch the next segment. Look, it actually look quite good. So okay, here we are. Yeah, I'm just gonna start working with details now. I think I have most of the structure and I think it seems like I have the anatomy quite correct in it. So what's going to be difficult is to make the right bone structure and yeah. The bone and the shadows and all these things. Maybe it needs to be turned a little bit more towards me here. So okay. I think I need to do something with the lighting in here because it becomes a little bit difficult to see the warm and the cold colors. Had some problems with this now and it's a little bit annoying actually. Hopefully I will be able to make it dry so I can put on a glaze and that will make it way easier. So Baba, little lamb. Little lamb on the hill, run fast as you can, because the Christians, they want to kill you. And your life hasn't even begun. Marzi. Why the Christians? Everybody's killing sheep. Why not? They're made for food. So if it wasn't for food, they wouldn't even exist. Not these sheeps anyway. So they owe their existence to the fact that they are bred for food. And I mean, for sheep, it doesn't really matter anyway, because it has no understanding of being here anyway, so who cares? I mean, okay. I'm doing cold therapy today. I decided not to. Cold therapy means that it's cold in here, and I'm enduring it because it's good for my immune system. Now I'm gonna focus a little bit closer so you can actually see what I'm doing. See some of the details. And here, maybe. Yeah, something like this. So I can actually see what I'm doing. Now it is sadly more yellow on the film than it is in reality. Hopefully I will be able to fix that. So in the process. Getting silent today for some reason. Back to thinking, I guess. Thinking is a good thing. Just gonna shake it up a little bit. Then I will bring it back up. So tired of having glasses. We're having to wear glasses because it really does stand in the way. Usually I could just, well, it's bad today actually. So I might try without. I think it's also training. One shouldn't give in to, maybe not give in to the bad eyesight. It's not bad really, it's just +1, so. And see, I have to kind of go over it. Underneath there, I have the surface, but then I need to this one has to be, it has to be further apart. Yeah, that's the whole thing. It's so difficult to find the right place. There, maybe. Yeah, that's more correct. Because yeah. I'm not so talkative today. That's a good thing. Let's see here. I do use a glass thing here, and so it needs to be more of a shine there than this bone thing. It's quite nice to actually do this because you have to work on so many levels, and like this, and then to get that glass thing I need to go this way, and I have to cross over like this again, so it seems like it lies underneath. Then I go in and I bring it back up. And that's the way I do it. I go back and forth like this. And there's this thing there. So many things in it. You have. That's a good thing when an animal dies in nature. You get all the textures and all the things that has happened to it. You know, some moss maybe have grown on it. There has been a lot of animals eating on it. There's so many things that happens to cranium in nature, a skull. If people buy them, like they cook them, and it become too neutral, doesn't get that natural element. You know, all the elements as fucking around with it. So, and it gets this white, very white and bleached feel to it, which I really enjoy painting, because then you get all the colors of the color circle in it, the blue and the green and the yellows and everything, so it's good. Yep. I always think in directions, even if I do trying to figure out something here. How the teeth are reflecting. And the teeth are actually going. There's so many things that I haven't seen before. You know, it's almost like the first time I painted this, I kind of just painted the cliche. I painted some kind of, this is how a cranium should look. But that is the problem with it, you know. You do that and it comes out totally wrong, because now I see how the teeth are going down and up, and that is so logical because, yeah, because they have to chew, and maybe that is why the old masters used to study more anatomy. They kind of knew that what I painted now can't be true, because that is not how teeth work or bone work in nature, and you kind of avoid doing a lot of unnecessary mistakes. It takes a hell of a lot of time to fix. But then again, as I've said in many times in my videos, doing mistakes also gives the painting more paintedness over time, because you are touching it with your subjective self over and over and over again, and for every touch it becomes a little bit more like you, and reflects your subjective personality in it. So there's a kind of a give and take there, tit for tat. You gain and you may lose some, but in the end it might be a good idea or good thing not to succeed at once. But it is important to try to avoid cliché when you paint or sketch something. A nose is not how the brain depicts it. An eye is not symbols, it is just shapes kind of coming together. But we tend to paint, especially in the beginning, we tend to paint all these symbols for everything. And I remember even getting a shine in an eye. It was so amateurish, and so I kind of, and I was so pleased with myself because it kind of looked like a shine. So funny. And then you evolve, and then you go deeper and deeper, and it becomes more and more difficult to do it. Yeah. See now. What I see here is only this, because I can only see this. I can't see what's behind there. So, and I see the opposite of the teeth. Now you see how much it goes up there, that schwung, and goes down like this, and yeah, here. I try to keep this open and opaque. So there's lines going here, here. I give texture to this. I don't give much texture here, because there has to be a difference between the shine, the reflection, and the real object. There is also, of course, textures in this, but I will keep it more down, and then there will be a difference in it also on the texture level, not just that is upside down. I think that might be a good idea. Okay. This one. Like this. It goes kind of like this. Oh, it goes more out actually. So. Mm-hmm. Yeah, just keep on banging on. Yeah. Oh, you didn't even see that. What a shame. Ugh. Oh, sorry. That's how it turned out. This was what I was talking about. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll just keep on working. So, see you later, alligator. Okay, so here we are, another day in paradise, and I will just continue working with small and big details until it becomes what I'm after, which is of course perfection. Yeah, perfection is everything. So I kind of think the composition has been saved. So that's going to be okay. That's good. I was worried for a while, but not anymore. Also, some bird on top of the roof I can hear. It's nice. Maybe it's rain again. Anyway, see, I'm just touching now, building the light, and I noticed that I have to do this kind of with just touching in the light. You can't just drag like this and get that light. You need to kind of get it to have some texture and structure, and yeah, same here, trying to go down, and then I just pull up, also to get more, there I would do like that, to get that shape, and you just have to add and extract until it starts to come alive. So yeah, so when I've done much of the details and I feel the painting is on the right track, I will let it dry for a few days, and then I will do some glazing and another layer on top, hopefully. That is what I'm going to do. So. Okay. So. Mm-hmm. So. So many small things that has to be shaped before they fall into place. Zoom a little bit on the cranium so you see better. Okay, there. Oh, it turned blue and more yellow. Why? This camera is so annoying. There. The same goes for here. There's a difference between there and there. Mm-hmm. And this one. Well, maybe I should just do over there. I can actually do this a little bit darker. First, so we get the difference between these two bones here. So there was a lump there. That can be a problem. Sometimes I have initially put on a little bit too much of texture, and at some point it starts to collide with the rest, which can actually be a problem. So be a little bit careful planning your painting before you start adding colors. Also in the sketch, it can be a bit loose in the sketch, but don't be loose to a point where you add in too much without an address to what's going to happen in the future in the painting. It's worth thinking about. So yeah, kind of meat there, so I can actually, and it has this beautiful, it goes from more white or yellowish white, just keeps on going up like this, and as it goes higher it turns more and more into orange, probably because of, well, I'm not really sure, further away something, maybe it's the way the light hits. Anyway, it creates a very subtle line behind there, which actually explains the whole thing. So, no, that was wrong actually. It's more white. I'm basically using the paint now straight from the tube because I'm trying to keep it clean and I like the colors to be a little bit thick, so it has that. And also I'm using both Old Holland and Winsor Newton, and Winsor Newton is a more fluid paint than Old Holland, so to get that sculptural reality I have to be a little bit more careful with the medium, or it becomes too runny and I don't able to build the sculptural dimension as I want to. Underneath here in the shadow, I'm trying to keep it all down. I will, as I go along, differentiate this from the background with a thin line, which because this throws up light, so I can actually explain the difference with a more reddish orange tone underneath where the light is thrown up like this, and yeah. And that's how you build more and more textures, more and more address. And is that like you're looking at something thousands and thousands of times, and that's how I do it anyway, and then I pick up a little bit of information every time I look at it, almost like I'm doing it in stages. Well, I'm actually not almost, I'm doing it in stages. So into compartmentalize, or very hard to say that word. It's almost like my thumb is like just curling it up into See, it goes light between there and it hits there. There's a shadow in between this and the background. So that light is even smaller in reality, so I'll try to fix that. And that is how you, by inch, are creating something that hopefully in the end feels natural and becomes a relatively good painting, which will always be my goal. So no matter if it's political or whatever, that will always be the goal for me. Yay! Now I'm gonna try to talk about painting only, and yeah, that actually made a small difference. Okay, see you in the next segment. Stay cool. We'll do some more close-up next time so we can see better. Okie dokie dokie. I'm gonna show you how I deal with the smallest details, and yeah. Now, I was talking about step by step. We also have these, you know, the bone structure always have this, the skull is kind of partitioned into parts, and they kind of fuse as we grow older. When you are a child, you can actually, the skull is quite open and then it fuses. The thing is that in the skull there are these lines here. And the thing is to not create an impression of lines, but do your utmost to basically create a sense of space and a sense of real bone. And you have to do that by, you can't just put on some very hard lines. That won't work at all. It will just look false. What you have to do is to find a way to round everything so that it feels basically totally natural. That even this one has an edge. So I must say, how the hell do you do that? Well, by first putting in some there, and then you go underneath and strengthen the shadow underneath it. Now that was a little bit too much and probably the wrong color. And instantly you get a line that is way too harsh. The shadow became too dark and the whole thing stiffens up. What I do now, as you can see, is that I'm using very small pencil and I just try to, not try, but I go in with lines like this, more and more and more. I get closer and closer to that bony feeling, which of course is my goal. my end goal. I use in the shadows, it can actually be good to use Van Dyke brown in the different yellows. The Van Dyke brown is a little bit bluish, reddish kind of tone, and it works with almost any color to tone it up or down. Or tone it down, I mean, sorry. So now again, first I went underneath, then I make some textures, then I just mold it back and forth, and now I need more light here to create, to differentiate these two. And then I go in here and I drag this way, and that way I basically create two different levels. And at the same time I can actually keep a natural feel to it. I now see that there are some more reddish or orange in here, so I will just drag down that a little bit with some cadmium orange in it, and now it even becomes a little bit more alive. Yeah. But I also try to keep it, I try not to flatten it out. I try to keep it that it has a texture and no flat brushstrokes. Behind here there will be flatter brushstrokes, but to make these two surfaces very different from one another, really make an effort to make the background and this a little bit different. You see now there's not a line, I almost said a line. It's so funny, it's really hard, this language thing, because we are so used to saying lines. But it's not a line. So yeah. Yeah. Yeah, this now it starts to come alive. Here too I have to do the same thing, going down like this. You don't want to do like this because you will kill it. You need to create some sculptural reality there. Without building too much. Now, boom, it comes some light here. It was exactly what I was after. here and goes up like this and down there and like this, like that. Now it's a little bit different. Here. I use some broken whites for this. It's called Naples Gebel and Brilliant Gebel Lie. Yeah, my mother is banging on my door, so I'm going to speak to her. Okay, see you next segment. Okay, as I go deeper, the details are more and more difficult, or takes longer and longer time. This is one of the last segments. My mummy, my beautiful mummy, was here, and she loves kind of being around me when I'm painting, so look at the progress, and it's nice. Kind of like it used to be the younger days. I'm going to teeth here and get some nice points of light, just building the basis for what is coming next. As you can see, maybe you can see it, it's getting more and more this bony feeling. The surface is, as I said in the last segment, or one of the segments, that the surface of the bone is quite a brittled, let me say brittled. It's not a smooth surface. It is smooth some places, but usually it has a lot of nice textures, even on a micro level. So there's a lot to work with, and it's exactly the challenge I love when I really get into that, into the depth of that process, and I go into this deep flow. It is just, what was that? Oh, it was just heaven. It's my heaven. See here, it's kind of starting to come alive, and but then I go over that again when it has dried, and that way I'm kind of building also the I'm building the lights in basically more in 3D. As you can see here, it's really such a giving process. There's, if I told a friend of mine that was visiting today that if I won $1 billion or 1 billion kroner or whatever, I mean there's a big difference between 1 billion kroner and $1 billion, but you know, the point is the same. I still would do my painting. The only difference is that I would spend more money on a better studio. I would have spent more money on the framing and the colors and stuff like that, because I could afford it. But I would never become lazy, because painting for me is not something I do for fame or anything else. It's always a flow that drives the painting process. That connection. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. That's good. I was afraid of that painted. One. You know, I need to get the right amount of teeth. It's quite important. So. The right shape. So this is how it is to go deeper and deeper and deeper into that substance. You just see more and more things and you go. See how I work now? It's quite slow. It's very concentrated. Sadly, I didn't do a video of the sketching process. I did a video. I have, of course, in the beginning you see me paint over stuff in it, and I guess that tells you a little bit. But I have a lot of craniums that I'm going to paint, the skulls, even a bear skull, and I have my dog Timian in a box. I'm going to paint his skull, and that's going to be a strange experience to paint my beautiful dog. I had to put him down. It's 14 years ago. 14 years ago now. 13 or 14 years ago. And I still haven't painted him. It's so strange. It's almost something in me avoids it. But I'm going to do it now. I'm going to take him out and paint my Timian, my dog. So, okay, now there's such a beautiful light underneath there, but I'm not going to do anything with that now because you can't see it anyway. So I'm going to stick to things up here, and I just want to show how I do my details. What a slow process it actually is. Now there's a light coming from here that hits up there, and it also hits the teeth, or the tooth as it's called, on the side there. I was talking to my mom about, she said, well, nobody sees if there's something. Well, that is not really true, because when it is a cranium or a skull like this, it's very easy to see that something is wrong if you have a trained eye. So you shouldn't try to hide. If you're doing a skull, you have to follow the rules of nature, or it just will look very, very wrong. You won't believe in it, not even yourself. So you have to get the proportions right. Even the teeth has this logic to them, and I can't really do many. Take many freedoms. I have to stick with at least most of what I see. If not, it's just going to seem very, very wrong. And then it's not really a good painting, is it? was also discussing with my mother because she was wondering if this was too short. And it might be a little bit short. She might be right. But it can also be... No, actually, it might be... Or they are too long. And that's the thing. Are they too long or this too short? If this is too short, I can move this. If they are too long and I move these will be wrong. And I have actually increased the size of it, which means I have to adjust everything else too. Actually, right now I might think that my mother is a little bit right again. She has a very good aesthetic sense of proportions and composition and stuff. She's kind of born with it, and she's really able to see things. So I might just try to do it a little bit longer here, and she might have been right about that. So yeah, this one. At some point you need to get it fixed, you need to get it right so you can move on to the more difficult textures and details, because you can't keep on changing the main shape again and again if you're going to be able to finish the textures, because all the overpaints and stuff will start. You have to basically remake everything every time you do some big changes. So yeah. I think this maybe was a little bit more correct, but it's so subtle, you know. Even every bloody sheep is actually a little bit different than another sheep. So there's no two sheep that are the same, and yeah, this goes a little bit more up. This is so time consuming. A painter who is doing figurative art like this is probably spending more time on one painting than a modernist are using on his whole exhibition. Artists who really do not put in any effort because they're hiding behind this conceptual art bullshit, which gives them the right to be mediocre on a level that is just nauseating. If you do figurative art like this, you can't really hide much. You can't hide behind the idea or stuff like that. You have to basically take responsibility for your mistakes in the light of objective standards like Rembrandt and all the great artists. It's very important to have that objective standard to stretch towards, to keep you grounded, to keep your feet on the ground, so you don't fly off and become a pretentious asshole. Now you can hear their hands starting to Okay, I will fix this. Now it's too much color on it, so I'm not really able to put on more. Maybe a little bit. I will try again. Yeah, so now I changed it a little bit, and then it kind of became a mush. And it can be very frustrating. Doesn't take much. So, maybe. Yeah. Okay. Also, I need to tone this down and then tone it up again. So it's not easy, my darlings. It's not easy at all. This is what I'm doing, hours on hours on hours on end, until I feel that I have reached something. Just going to move that line a little bit. It was up there. Some very small and beautiful details that I will put in the end. There. This is a crow. No, it's one of these birds that are actually painted. Maybe it was a crow actually. It's a seagull I can hear in the background. Do you hear that? Well, I think you get the point. This too, the lines in the skull itself, like these lines, has to be natural. Maybe thicker some places, thinner other places. Just try to look at how they are and repeat it. Leonardo da Vinci was an expert on using those things, the lines, to make things become dynamic. The thinner lines and thicker lines, and in the same line in a way, and that way it became very natural. Well, it's too strong. I need to tone it down. So. Yeah. Okay. I'll just move out a little bit so you can see what I've done with the rest. And I've been working a little bit around here. And some teeth underneath there. Maybe just zoom in again. Zoom in maybe even closer. There, so you can see the teeth. Almost forgot that. I want to do some teeth underneath here. On this one. Yeah. There's one. There's one. There's one here. There's some kind of holes between the teeth. That is basically what I painted now. Then I fill that in later. So it's really tough. And this one actually goes this way. As you can see now, it's too much color on it, so just keep kind of blending with that color that is already there. So it's very hard for me to get that light on after right now. So that I can just dry and then I do more another day. So that's fine. There's one. Yeah. Okay, we'll get the point. Just zoom out a little bit like this, and I want to show you how. Now I've been working here, and of course there is a light. There is quite a light here. Actually, in this, I will go this way because I want to follow the surface. That's how I build that. I probably use a different pencil. Use this one, the square one. So, like this. Okay. Like this. Okay, see now, it just comes alive. And the reason I do this kind is because that's how I feel. I feel that the direction right here goes down, straight down. Maybe here I go this way. To get a totally different thing compared to that light there. And that is how I think when I paint. I do all the different directions, and here I go like this to turn that light on. The good thing here now is that when I do this, I actually add color on top of a layer of color that was already higher than this. And that is why I got this light suddenly popping out, because now that part is thicker than this. And yeah, so here is too wet now for me to be able to get anything out of that. Then I want to even that out a little bit, give it some more color, some more tone, and I kind of drag it this way. I use some Cranium or some Van Dyke brown to tone it down to a more earth-like color, earthy color, brown. So it gives kind of a, starts to give a texture and a bone type of feeling, more brittled. Yeah. And then I can also put this in here. And through here, shine. It's the thing underneath that shines through it. Oh, you can't see that now, I guess. Yeah, you can. Okay, yeah. And then when I'm going to make this stand harder on the surface, I go in and I put in a darker line here. And like this. There. Whew. That's really rough. It's never easy. Then I take some color and I try to lift it up again a little bit, because you don't want it to be too hard. You want everything to be integrated. Now it's too much, but that doesn't really matter, because I can always bring it back up by adding some orange here, pushing it down again. Make these melt into one another, and then I will add some reddish underneath here, which then reflects the light from what it stands on. And I guarantee you, I go back and forth many times with this. I can't film everything because it would be the longest painting video in the world. Actually, if YouTube allowed it, I would probably make some of the videos of the whole process. Every single brushstroke, every battle. Maybe even just stream it. And but that would be a Cranium video that lasted basically for days, and I guess that would be hard to get people to watch it. Anyway, I think it turned out quite well. Now I want to do some Let's see what time. Oh, it's 29. So yeah, okay. 29 minutes. Anyway, I hope you actually learned something from this, because I was only talking about painting. So see you in the next segment. I'm gonna go over the whole thing a little bit. So okay, bye bye. Okay, here we are. I am about to put on both Retouching Varnish, and I'm gonna do kind of a bluish glaze over the whole thing, or a glaze so that I can get some more colors into the textures I have built up. First I put on this Retouching Varnish, and then I will let it dry for a few minutes, like 10 or 15 minutes, and I will then add the glaze, which I'm going to show you, and then I will start painting again. I see it has dried. It's been drying for a couple of days over an oven actually, so it has been quite, I put some warmth into it. So you know, oil colors are drying way faster if you have them in a warm room, and if you hang them over an oven somewhere, it will go even faster. So that is something I can actually recommend. I don't need to glaze, well, I don't need to put on the Retouching Varnish so much up here actually, because I'm not going to paint that much up there right now anyway. It's going to be more, I have to paint over all of this because it's so unfinished, so I don't need to use any of my precious Retouching Varnish much here. Retouching Varnish gives you an oversight over the shadows, and you get all the different tones to come out, because when you use oil, often in shadow parts, if it's thin painted and stuff, all the colors can actually be a little bit matte, or they kind of lose their, they kind of dry up the surface. You can't really see what is happening inside the shadows correctly. But when you put the glaze on, you can actually see it, and that gives. And also, when I put the Retouching Varnish on before I start glazing, the oils and the colors actually stick. The oil stick better to the surface, so that it doesn't become very kind of slippery when I start painting over it. So there's kind of a glue-like effect on the oils and the paint I have in the glaze. But I want to show you that in the next segment. So, okay. Yeah, and here we are. I'm going to put on some glaze. I'm going to go a little bit closer so you can actually see what I'm doing. Now, I'm going to, since this cranium or skull is, it has some bluish in it, so I'm going to use the French ultramarine or ultramarine blue first. I use a mix between 70% turpentine or turp and 30% linseed oil with some cobalt fixative in it. It is from Old Holm, so you can get it from there. Now this is pure blue, and I just gonna put on some pure blue first to get that to kind of go into the surface. The good thing about glazing is that when you have done a lot of groundwork with white underneath, the white will then shine through, and it will give the new glaze or the color you put on top, give them some clarity. It will be very clear, very beautiful. And you can also do that in the end if you want to enhance some parts of your painting with glaze. It's very effective to do that. And just put some all over. Now I will take away some of the oil. When I take away some of the oil, I do it with like this. I just scrape into it, and I can also use a little bit of paper. I have some paper lying around. Should have had more, I don't. So that's how I do it. I just take away. Now what happens now is that the color, I take away some of the oils so it doesn't become too slippery. I also removed some of the top glaze. So now it kind of falls into all the cracks in the, not kind of, it actually falls into the cracks. Let me show you here. I go a little bit closer, maybe here. It kind of falls into the cracks of the texture. So I'm going to put on some, I'm going to mix in some kraplak, some red. Just see what happens. I see there are some red in it, some places, and I just get that also in, and then I will start working on top of it. The good thing is that it now leaves some clear colors, and I can start to drag out both light and textures from the white, so that's good. Not bother going over the whole thing because I'm gonna, well, I can do a little bit over the whole thing just to give it some potency, like this. Some more, maybe. I usually like to use the kraplak for glazing. For some reason it has this bluish tone. But you can also use other colors if you're going to do have some yellow. You can use pure yellow, you can use pure colors over it. I have never glazed with any like raw umber or anything like that. I only, for me, I don't know, maybe other people do, but I only glaze with pure colors. So that, because I'm gonna paint over this anyway, and in the end I want, if I glaze all the way in the end, I want the colors to have potency, so I wouldn't mix in colors, because then it gets dirty and it doesn't feel like a natural light and stuff, so that's quite important. Now there's some more light here, I'll remove some there. There's some more light here, and I have light here like this. Just remove a little bit and maybe scrape into it a little bit. And you can do that. But in general, I will just start painting on top of this, and I will start with a with the points of light first, and then just work myself into the whole thing, like you have seen me do earlier in this video. Just gonna work with all the small stuff, the textures and everything. So yeah, and that is the next segment. Okay, here we are starting painting. I'm gonna go a little bit closer so you see better, and then I will move even, as I see it gets a little bit yellow now for some bloody reason. Anyway, I have to do something with that. So anyway, I'm gonna try to do some shorter segments so that this video doesn't become like my other videos. All my videos becomes quite long because I can't really see how I can teach people to paint with like 10-minute videos. But I'm planning to do, of my best videos, I'm planning to do some shorter versions of them with the voiceovers and maybe slow motion painting and stuff, so you can actually see, and then you can go back to the main files and see the whole files, because some people are more, I guess most people are quite impatient. They do not want to spend too much time watching videos, listening to me rant. Some people actually like it very much, and that's nice. But I guess most people want quick fixes where they can maybe feel that they have learned something, but they don't necessarily have learned anything. So if you're going to learn how to paint, you need to put in the time and effort and try to learn the hard way. See, now I'm just gonna start doing the light areas. Just gonna try to follow some different directions and stuff to make it come alive. So and like this. You know, I work in directions, as you can see, because this part is way higher than this part. So to differentiate these two things, I need to build this here in a sculptural manner. Oh, I hate that word, sculptural. You know, I'm a Norwegian and my tongue is kind of just, when I try to say that, my tongue is just twisting like crazy. Yeah, you see here too, I try to keep this one down, but I also, because I don't want this to compete with this one, that is a whole thing. You need to work on it as if it is a sculpture, and I know it's boring to listen if you are used to my videos. I say this all the time, but I also have to say it in every video. If not, I'm going to get the same questions over and over again, and that would be a little bit boring. So yeah, try to mention it. Think of your object as a sculpture. You're actually going to make a 3D rendition on a 2D surface. that you are going to create into basically a relief. And that is how you create that incredible 3D or presence. You create the presence of the objects in the painting. You see now I'm trying to, I even keep this one down. I didn't put any white in there because now I can actually pull out this shape from only putting in paint here. So now I got this 3D of only marking there. So in a way I'm not in a way, I am building 3D both in the macro and the micro. Now I'm only going to put in white here. I'm not going to put in so much here. Then I'm going to go down here. And I'm going to try to, because now I've toned everything down, but I still have the sculptural dimension from the last things. The glaze has toned it down. So now I can only go in and I can increase the presence of the light in the areas that is the most had the most light on it, like this. And there's one here. So that way the glaze actually works as a very good way to make an illusion of shadows and stuff, because the glaze now are working basically as a shadow also, or you tone down things. So you see now I can actually pull out the 3D effect right out. And one more thing which is great, because now the glazing that I put on are now mixing into the new colors I put on, and therefore it starts to that way it kind of, it's the same colors there as there. It's only the white now that I put in, and the colors are already there, so I don't have to actually add so much color into the white. I do add a little bit of color, but I also want to keep it very white, and if I put in too much color I will lose that effect. So, and here too is a little bit yellowish, and that is very dangerous because I put on a blue glaze and I can easily turn into green, and I'm not after green, I'm after some kind of a warmer yellow tone and more yeah, you see here it's more like a yellow tone, or a cadmium yellow tone right there. But that too, the yellow now works with the French ultramarine, or ultramarine, that is actually a little bit against the red, so we get this complementary effect also in that. So when you glaze, you do get some free lunches, and it makes the whole thing easier to get the lively surface that I'm after. You see here too, it's so much glaze there, and it's in the red, so I just need to put on this like this, and now it becomes different. And then I will of course work also on top of that again, and if I fail, if I go too far, I just make it dry again, and I do it another glaze and another glaze and another glaze until I feel that the painting is actually where I want it to be. Yeah. I do hope this explained it a little bit for you. This is how I should make my videos. In general, I should focus on my painting so that people actually don't necessarily have to be inundated with my philosophy or all the time anyway. So yeah. Now I'm a thinker, and I also love conversation, and when I'm painting I'm in an inner dialogue, in flow all the time, and it's usually not about painting because that is more like an automatic thing for me. It is more about life, existence and everything, and that is why I tend to go off on these philosophical rants, unfiltered and actually for some interesting. Yeah, so now you know. I think this is gonna become a quite nice painting when I start really getting into the textures and stuff. So I'm also wondering if I'm gonna paint the same thing in Oslo from photo, but I'll see what I'll do. So just to see the difference between the photo and the real object painting. So I'm gonna tone out a little bit here, as you can see it. Strange it changes color, but that's how it is. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna do some more. Show you. I've been working with the shine here, which is actually not that easy. There's a lot of details, a lot of things to think about. But then again, as I say all the time, it's a challenge, and I love a challenge. So we'll kind of try to emulate the scene there, here. Now this is of course not as clear as it is up here, and yeah, so there's a little bit more freedoms I can take when it's a shine. But you don't want to take too many freedoms so that you lose some of the point in doing it at all. So now it comes actually here, goes down like this. I have to kind of draw a little bit now, and then I go in and drag it down like this. And there's a lot happening in there. There is a light coming from in between the two jaws that comes out like this underneath, and there's a shadow, and the light also then comes here. So there's a lot of stuff happening that you have to, on many levels, and seeing them can be challenging. So very nice actually. It's a very nice challenge. So so 3D. So as such, the neons are just so close together some places, and it's so easy to trick one's own eyes to believe that it is more, it's brighter than it is, because I mean the brightness here compared to the brightest parts of the cranium is just immense, but the brain can actually trick itself to believing that the differences are less, and that is why you have to try to keep an objective mind when you're doing it, and try to look at it in an objective way so that you get it, can possibly get it a little bit closer to reality. Yes. I always have to shake it up. Can't be stiff, there can't be many lines, and yeah, there's a light coming in here too, between, so, and that creates a nice shape, and yeah. I'm done with this. I'm going to change the lighting in this studio. So next time I do a painting here, I will have way better lighting. Because this... But I won't change the lighting now. Because if I do that, it's just going to be extremely confusing. And I probably would start redoing the whole thing. And I don't have the time, and I don't want that, because you can't just, that is why when daylight is coming in, when I work in fluorescent light, I basically have to stick with the fluorescent lights. If I do both, if I used fluorescent lights in daylight, it wouldn't matter. And if I painted only in daylight, I mean, that would probably be the best way to see the real colors. But then you get the problem with light changing outside. I mean, sunlight and light from a cloudy day, or light if it rains, or light blah blah blah. It's so different that it is like day and night. When it comes to the colors, I mean, if there's sunny, you have warm colors. If it is raining, you have, or clouded, you have colder colors. And if it's evening, you have, of course, colors that are warmer. And if it's morning, you have colors that are actually colder. So to my submission, a mix between a little bit of daylight in the background and fluorescent lights, I think would be the best way to go, and try to have a lighting that doesn't change too much as you paint, because it can be really nauseating, can be really frustrating when, I guess you've seen it, when the daylight is coming in through the window. Even this painting here starts to change when I'm filming it. It becomes a more bluish, light in, and it really starts to screw even with the video. So lighting is quite important. What I like to use usually is a mix between mostly warm white or just totally white, like daylight, perhaps warm white or white, and then daylight, some daylight, fluorescent lights, and then some white, and maybe a couple of warm whites if there is room for it. But warm white tend to give a conflict in the lighting, I've noticed, and maybe just white with a little bit of warmth in, and then daylight, or maybe even only white with some kind of mix between warm and cold colors in them is the best. But you know, you have to figure that out yourself. You just have to try out different lightings and see what basically works for you. So yeah, that's about lighting. Now that is way too orange. No idea what I put that in. But then I can tone it down. And yeah, so much happening in this surface. Yeah, I can see what's underneath. I can see underneath the glass. I can see. So there's so many things to consider. Kind of drives me a little bit nuts. So maybe I should just try something like this. And see what happens. Then I go over that the other way afterwards and see what happens. Remember, this is glass. Yeah, okay. So, okay, I need to have some more texture in there. A couple of brush strokes, warmer, or maybe even colder ones. Let's see what happens. Let's see now. So, okay. Kraplak is good. Has this yellowish tint to it. No, sorry, bluish, brownish tint or color. And can be a good thing to use on this. I want to link these together a little bit more without losing that highlight. I need a brush stroke that goes down. It's almost like I can see what kind of brush strokes I need. Then I will cross over this one again from here to kind of create a little bit more thickness and depth. And it's funny because as you more learn to paint, that is what you get enabled to actually foresee how different types of brushworks would affect the whole thing, and it makes it very much easier to foresee the future in a painting like I know I need more there. It's also in the red, so it's quite difficult for me to see exactly what color it should be. I'll take a chance and just put in a brushwork there, see what happens. And it was almost okay. You go a little bit like this, and there's some bump here. So there you see I actually just put in, and now I'm putting kind of the texture on top of the other textures in a more light. I'm holding the brush in such a way that it's quite loose. So what I put in now is kind of on top, and the other textures, even the glaze, are now shining through or in between the other brushes. Oh, that was wrong. I think I need to tone that down. I use my kraplak again, and to tone that down, the bluish one. And then I also choose another direction. Maybe I even put in some blue. See what happens. Yeah, well, it was a little bit too much. I'll pull it back up again with a little bit of reddish, and I go over that again, and kind of manage to save it. So that is basically how brushwork works, how you think when it comes to brushwork. It is, look at paint as clay, and every time when you use brushwork in this manner, you actually think that this is clay. I'm now creating a sculpture. Okay, I couldn't say that more often enough. And because people are trying to depict a 2D surface, and they don't get why they can't seem to get it right, and that is because they don't understand brushwork. If I could teach you one single thing, it is the value of brushwork. I'm going to show you one more. I need more here, so I'll just put in one more there, there, here, and I need to cut it like this, and I cut up like this, and in here. So now I actually built quite a big difference between this and what's underneath. And I also need one here, actually, like this, and one here to kind of flatten out a little bit. I will add a little bit more blue, a little bit more kraplak, and I will kind of, yeah, I need to concentrate better there, I can see. Anyway, this is the way I think when I paint. And if you're gonna create a more naturalistic, not photographic rendition, that's a totally different thing. What I'm doing is building sculpture. What people like David Kazan and the people who are a little bit more photorealistic, they are basically building they're building an impression. I'm actually trying to build the real shape, basically the real physical shape, at least the one that are towards me, the physical shape that are towards me. I'm trying to basically create. So I can't create what's behind but I'm trying to paint what's almost physically what is in front of me. And if you do that in a good way, if you manage to reach it a little bit, you will actually feel that the thing that is behind it is actually there, because everything is related to everything else. And if you get the front right, you probably get what underneath and behind also quite right. So yeah, so now you know. That was a little bit like that. Yeah, that's good. So okay, we'll continue painting and see you in the next segment. Bye bye. I'll kind of go a little bit closer so you can see. Anyway, yeah. Okay. Okay, dokie. Here we are. A long time after the last brushwork. I will now start to work with the background a little bit more. Going over this. As you can see, there's some blue here. The light is coming in from the outside. And it's morning in Norway. It's like 6:30 in the morning. So yeah, I've been working a lot with the textures and everything, and I will go over this and then I will actually go get some sleep, some needed sleep. The good thing about doing this now is that then it's finished. Also get to clean my palette. Just going to do like this, water it down a little bit. Probably gonna go into it also one more time after this and make it come alive a little bit more. But I just wanna get layer number 2 over the whole surface and then start to mold it. I try to get all the different colors into the background also. I use a little bit of black, but I actually use a blue black from Winsor Newton, which I like, because it has this bluish tone. I think personally I think the ivory black, or bone black as it's called, or ivory black. There's no ivory anymore, of course. That would be extremely illegal. That is quite annoying actually. I mean, there are killed so many elephants and they just burn the tusks that are confiscated instead of actually maybe making some stuff out of it legally for the market, so they should actually get the prices down. I mean, it's the same with drugs. If you could actually legalize all drugs, I mean, the mafia didn't have any more revenue because people could get it legally. Now, I'm not for that because I don't want the half of the population to go around being on drugs all the time, but when it comes to ivory, you could actually work, and you could also even make colors from it. You could make pigment, extremely expensive pigment, and the money could go to the poor people where the elephants live, and help poor people But I don't, they just burn it. It's so sad. It's ridiculous actually. Well, that's what I've seen anyway. So, and that was a digression. But as you know, I'm the master of digression, so no surprise there. That's more the word I was looking for. There's a lot of bluish in this surface because it's quite bluish in the background. It's not that, so I will keep it that way. I will try to keep it kind of cold, and of course I will put in some warmth some places, like over here or something, to create a little bit more dynamic into it. But cold it will be. Let's see, I just need some more black, and I think I have what I need, to be honest. I won't do any more, I think, of the background when I paint. But yeah, blah blah blah. As you can see, I'm keeping the background down, but I also try to get some structure into it. I don't want a surface that is kind of totally clean. That is what I used to do when I was young. I thought that it should be totally clean, but it becomes very closed off, and I don't like the aesthetics of it. I like it to be more lively, and that is why I also use these pencils. Now if you go too many times over it, and you start losing that dynamic thing, really the aesthetics starts to disappear. Maybe it shouldn't be too chaotic. Oh. Okay, as you can see, I've been working more around here. I was actually planning to be finished with this painting today, but I can see that that will not happen. So I will continue tomorrow, work a little bit more wet in wet. I won't let this dry now because I want to keep it open. I will dry it a little bit, but not all dry, because as I said, I want it to be open. And when it comes up a little bit sticky, it's a good thing. But as I say, not totally. See, I will go over like this, and then I do like this. Oh shit! like this, and I try to basically link everything together, make these lines just kind of devour one another in a way, to make it feel a little bit more natural. I used to be more brutal with that before I understood that you actually have to make this totally opaque. You don't want the lines behind there to be so clear that it competes with the clarity here in the front. And that is basically what you have to do to make a surface that feels natural. So yeah. Controlling dirty colors, all kind of colors, earthy, dirty colors, and making them come alive can also be a daunting task for the untrained eye. So the good thing about daylight is that I start to see things that I didn't see before. And yeah. So here I want it to be a little bit more depth, so I try to keep it even, the textures here even more down. Maybe I should actually start working more in daylight. Maybe I should get a new studio with more daylight in it. Let's see now, this one is there, I have to go all the way down here, basically here. Oh, I'll fix that more tomorrow. And yeah. Anyway, now we've got some kind of picture of how I do the background. It's all about overpaints and being able to see what the next brushwork will do. Yeah. Okay. Some nice brushworks. Bam. Yeah. And just do a little bit like this. Now this is a glass thing, so I'm doing it the glass way in direction, and I can do it like this, this, go over that. You get this transparent feel to it. was annoying. There are actually some white dust particles on top of it. Always help to put in something that actually is a little bit alive. Anyway, hope that was, yeah, good. Bye bye. Okay, hopefully last layer of paint, and yeah, I will start with what will I start with? Where do I start? Maybe I start with the teeth and the things that are here. That could be good. Or maybe I just start here to get into it. That has dried, so let's see. I'm just gonna do very small things today. Kind of touch-ups. No big changes. Because I think I have gotten it quite right. And I just need to enhance a few things without destroying something. It's very typical to start out with thinking like this and then you just go too far and you have to use even more time to fix things you did. So yeah. Yep. Oh, it's raining again. Such a nice sound. I'm gonna miss that when I go back to Oslo on Friday, actually. See here, I'm trying just to touch, get some points of light to shine even more, and yeah. See now, also here. Okay. When I do this in this way, it actually seems like there is some substance to the bone. Many people only kind of paint what they think they see and not the substance. But a better painting will have that substance or whatever. Trying to create an illusion of the thickness of the bone. Just going to up here. Okay. Better. Yes. And I'm going to do some teeth. So just going to mark them how they are. This one comes down here. This here. Now this is a little bit different in yep. And I should try to do it a little bit more not so clear. Just dissolve it a little bit more so it doesn't compete with the rest. That is also quite important. Try to keep it. Okay, and some blue, I think. Look at this. Listen to the sound. So beautiful. Just love the sound. Well, I've said that before, so typical the weather in Viking land. You actually got weather here. Yeah. And it changes dramatically. During one day it can change dramatically actually. It's quite funny. Anyway, that's not what I'm going to talk about now. I'm going to talk about painting. Painting, yes. Okay, I'm going to put in some shadow underneath here. Yes. It's funny how difficult it gets the closer I get to the finished result. It can be a daunting task. Huh. Yeah. Bit more light here. Okay. I don't want it to become too white because that can actually destroy the light. So to find that sweet spot. big, big. Oh, it rains. Teeth. Yeah, I will just keep on painting, and I will do some close-ups for you, and hopefully I will be able to finish it today. So, okay, here we are, last ditch, the last brush strokes on this painting. Hopefully I won't stress with this for hours. I'm going to do some micro glazing, some focused glazing, as it's called, as I call it. Give this rock a little bit more texture. I just glaze over it like this, and that way the textures are kind of popping out more. And I do like this to get some bluish into the surface, and then I will take away some of it, and that will give this one a more rock-like surface, as you see. And also maybe I should focus a little bit closer. Well, like that. So, and then I will just do some. Now I want the color now to be a little bit runny. Now I actually do use some medium in the colors because I want them to be quite clean, clear, and I want to enhance the red in this a little bit, and I also put in some a little bit of cadmium orange and a little bit of white actually. Not often I paint this thin, but now I will just let it be devoured into the surface, or absorbed, as I think maybe that is a better word. And what happens now is that the color I put on the glaze, is also mixing with it, and together they are kind of creating a very nice, more natural feel to it. I need some more, actually only cadmium yellow up here to give this a more. Now what I used as a glaze is the French ultramarine, so when I now mix in some cadmium yellow, it turned a little bit green, orange greenish type of thing, and it becomes very natural. Yeah, actually did. Now there are a few highlights here, not anything crazy, but there are some here and on top here. Now I don't want them to look like I just put some white on it. I want the highlights to be absorbed into the paint. Yeah. I'll also use some blue, some French ultramarine, to create a little bit more of a shadow here. That's only ultramarine, and it also mixes in with the other color to create more of this nice shadow, transparent shadow. Also a little bit here, then I use my fingers to just get it in there. When I was younger, I used to do more inexperienced. I used to put on white, and I thought that would actually give some more light, but it actually doesn't. It can actually steal more than it gives, so be careful with that. Just enhance it a little bit, tiny bit here, and this one like this, maybe round it a little bit more here. So, and here. It's not supposed to be as bright as up there, so two ways to do it. I can enhance this a little bit, which might be a good idea right now. So and then I can actually increase this one, which is not that strong, but I use my finger here because I really don't want any texture. And I also need to get that shadow there. goes up like this basically. Just so I show that it's there. Nothing much. Don't overdo it. So, and I want something behind there. And it might have to be, see now, difficult decision. If I do some mistakes now, it will take a while to fix it. Yeah, it was actually not so bad. Okay, tiny bluish shadow here, which also kind of melts into the background. Something missing right there. Little bits of white and yeah. Okay. Maybe that's it. So just do some glazing underneath there. So on this one, and you know, when I start doing these things, I really get hung up, and I start seeing many new things, and it becomes harder and harder to stop, because at some point you just have to stop. And yeah, so okay, a little bit more cadmium deep. So, okay, now I've got some gravity. So, I can be pleased with that. It's not photorealism anyway, so. So. Yeah. A bit of blue. Hello? Ah. My mummy that wasn't going to come here is now here. So I see. Okie dokie dokie dokie. The last stitch, I think. Last one. Glasses on. Here, tucked it behind my ears, if it's possible. A moth flying. So cute. Okay, I'm gonna make a small change there. There is this lump here, and it's very bony, whatever that means. I will try to do a glaze, kind of a glaze-like thing, to get it to come alive. I need to go behind it, like this, and there's a shadow from it. It comes down like this, and that shadow actually explains a lot. Then I need to draw it a little bit more. I put in that brush stroke there. Maybe I should actually zoom a little bit more so you can see what I'm doing. This is the last segment in this video, hopefully. And I just want to show you how I think. I'll do some more on the teeth and stuff, but now it's kind of a lumpy thing. So to enhance the shadow, I go in now and I do like this. Follow the shadow here. And yeah, now I see actually it's longer down. So I need to change it a little bit. Comes all the way down here. This thing sticks out of the, I don't know what that is. It must have some function. Put in some white here. Try to create a 3D shape there. It's quite difficult actually. So, and the shadow comes like this. Kind of cuts in here. No, that's not right. It comes down like this. And actually comes down here. There's moths. It's something funny actually. There's a lot of moths that comes into my studio here. Moths, they're so big, you know, they are huge, and I know they are quite harmless. It's strange, I almost don't want to touch them for some reason. Don't know why. Okay, there. I wonder if I can actually get this right. this is the thing that is really time consuming when you start doing work like this and going deeper into the substance of things, and you just try to get it right, and sometimes you succeed, sometimes you don't, and it's all about overpaint, 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 layer upon layer upon layer, to create that 3D effect that I'm after. What the hell is that? Yeah, that's better. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep. Okay. Now there has to be some address in that shadow. It's very important. Now to me it seems kind of blue, and it can't just be a hole there. It needs to have something inside of it, and I just need to find what that is going to be. And I'll just do like that and drag that over. And maybe drag that in. Yeah, because that was probably the right thing to do. Tone this down and give it a little bit of color. This was more difficult than I actually thought it was going to be, as usual. Yeah. I just need to get some brush that gives some texture. Some strategic brushwork. And boom, and there. Yeah, I think that should actually do the trick. Like this, a bit like this. Choices we make. It's not that it's going to pop out, but it's just going to be something that you will actually experience, like coming a little bit out from a distance. Dirty it up a little bit, then drag it back up, see what happens. Yeah. What you do in life goes in eternity. Marcus Aurelius. It's actually from the movie Gladiator. And it's Russell Crowe who says it. But actually, it is Marcus Aurelius, a quote from his meditations, which they put into the movie. And as a painter, maybe there is something important to that. When I'm standing here painting, trying to solve my problems, trying to get it right, I just think, why the hell do I bother? And you just have to think one thought. What if Rembrandt had been thinking like that? There wouldn't have been any beautiful Rembrandt paintings in the world. There would have been no beautiful drawings or paintings or by Leonardo da Vinci if they were thinking, fuck it, why do I bother? Why do I bother using all these hours upon hours upon hours on these insignificant things? It's like if things didn't exist, if Leonardo da Vinci never existed, I mean, we wouldn't know anyway. Maybe some other paintings that were famous. But just the sheer fact that it's there, that this man, these people bothered doing the work, exhausting work, and the pleasure of it. There's actually pleasure that comes from good works, and we should do our best to become the best version of ourselves, because if we manage to do something just a tiny bit important, just a tiny thud, just a thud, you have won a little victory for humanity. And as Horace Mann did say, you should be ashamed to die until you have won some victory for humanity. And I think these insignificant paintings will be my contribution. And with this, I actually think that I rest my case. So, yay. Okay, I will now sign this sucker, and I do it here. I'm gonna there or here. Anyway, do it here. I start here. K dot A dot V I K eek S O. It's really difficult. Oh yeah. Ho is a A with a round thing on it. L R like A, N and a D. D and dot 20. Okay, there. 20. Yeah, I think that was okay. Tone it down a little bit. Yeah, okay. Now I'm going to show you the painting with the frame. Okay, voila. Here we are. The finished artwork. And this is how it came out. Fairly good, I think. And you can also see the textures. Closer here, you can see how it's built. It's actually coming some a little bit of light in from the windows behind me, which is here. So the toning in the painting is a little bit different than in reality. But despite that, I'm pretty pleased with it. So this is how it turned out. I hope you enjoyed. And give a thumbs up, leave a comment. Go to my Patreon and check out my Patreon page. I actually make a small painting every month in my Patreon giveaway, so you can also win a painting. And I can become your mentor if you want me to teach you how to paint. And with this, I beg you a fine farewell.